Is SoftBank's business model broken? So it's yes and it's no. The basic thesis that SoftBank operates under their Vision Fund 1 and 2 is to buy up leading stakes in the leading artificial intelligence companies of the world and basically put them over the top through the capital, make sure that their market dominance is pushed forward and that no other companies can compete with them. So that kind of makes sense if you stick to your knitting. But there's two recent examples that show that the brilliant Masayoshi Son has kind of overextended himself and deviated from his thesis as well, which has gotten him into major trouble with his fund. The first is WeWork, obviously. There was a couple different problems. The first and most important problem, as I see it, is that Masa tried to convince everyone that WeWork is an AI company when it's not, when most people don't feel it is, or at the least that it fits in with his general thesis, at the least that it has the network effects. A lot of companies that are not AI companies have network effects, but that doesn't mean that they are new age, AI-based companies that fit into his thesis. So as a result of that, most people feel that the company is overvalued. Like he argues that it should be valued as like a AI or network effect company, but he had to buy into WeWork at a $47 billion valuation. It's going to go public at probably less than $20 billion if it does go public. So that's already more than a 50% shaving right off the top. So you have to make sure that if you have a valid thesis, that you stay true to your thesis, and that you don't try to manipulate the facts to have them fit in with your thesis. And I think SoftBank has been guilty of that with WeWork so far, at least in terms of whether the marketplace accepts the thesis or not. It's interesting because Amazon created its own thesis through storytelling in terms of not having to be a profitable company when Wall Street loves profits. So you can get away with storytelling if you are compelling, and the Wall Street sees justification. But in the case of WeWork, that's not the case. I think because Amazon's been able to do this, a lot of other companies like WeWork and Uber and Netflix have tried to stretch their stories as well to different levels of success. But the second problem with WeWork is, of course, like the stage at which SoftBank is investing in the valuations they have to get in on. So the same thing happened with Uber. Uber is, an AI leader, but they had to invest at Uber also at a valuation that didn't make sense. And also Uber didn't make sense relative to the marketplace because Uber has been way down since its IPO. So SoftBank is going to have to find leading companies perhaps, but invest a little bit earlier if they want to make maximal returns, because they're getting in at such a high valuation that even if the company is a market leader, they probably will lose money. And also they have to make sure that the companies they stay with are true to their thesis. The other thing I want to just mention is that, the size of a fund can make one a discipline. Like when you have $100 billion and you have to spend it, then it's easy to get sloppy. Like they say that, a lot of companies, if they get excess venture capital, they get sloppy. Both the companies themselves get sloppy and the investors get sloppy if they have excess capital. Necessity is the mother of invention. When you're bootstrapped or when you have very little funds, then it enhances creativity because you have to, you can't just throw money at a problem. And I think Masayoshi Son is a brilliant person, but I think he's gotten a little bit sloppy and his fund has gotten a little bit sloppy just because they have so much money to play with.